Hey, I'm Chef Rich, a classically trained chef, author, and award-winning culinary educator. With over 2 decades of experience, I've discovered that food is more than just food. It's our greatest medicine. But here's the truth. There is no quick fixes, magic pills, superfoods, or diets that work. Welcome to a different kind of cooking show. Our mission? To inspire, educate, and prove that getting healthy doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. I'll share tips on saving you money at the grocery store, saving you time in the kitchen, and creating meals that everyone will eat. I'll expose the lies about food, reduce the stress about what's for dinner, and remove the struggle of getting healthy. If you give me a chance, I promise, we'll always make it fun, easy, and delicious. Now let's get cooking. Hey, I'm Chef Rich, and welcome to One Plate Kitchen, where we save you money at the grocery store, we save you time in the kitchen, and we make delicious meals that are easy, fun, and healthy. Now you can see the change of scenery. We're not in a regular studio kitchen. Today, we're outside. It is such a beautiful day outside. Why not take advantage of it and cook outside? All right, so what are we making today? Today, because we're outside, we're gonna do a grilled stuffed pepper with a cilantro white rice and a lime yogurt. Now, since we know what we're making, let's see the stars of the show, our ingredients. So today, we have an onion, we have some beautiful bell peppers, we have limes, we have some fresh parsley, we have some Greek yogurt, which is going to be amazing in this dish. And then our spices, we have some garlic, we have some black pepper, paprika, cumin, we have some ginger, and of course, we can't cook anything without the #1 seasoning in the world, our one plate herb salt. We also have some amazing ground beef. And we always have the question, we always get this question, what do we do at leftovers? Well, we're gonna show you what we do at leftovers because we're gonna use some leftover white rice today. Now, let's get started. I'm gonna clear this up out of my way and we're gonna show you what we do. So we have our ground beef here. Now the first thing, and this is one of the greatest things about this recipe, is it's so easy to make. All right, all we're gonna do is kind of mix everything together in our ground beef. First thing we do, cut up this onion. So I'm gonna get my knife and just cut this onion up. And you'll see, there's really no great way to cut this. We're just gonna mince this up today. All right, so and the great thing also, since we're outside, is I don't have to worry too much about crying. I'm gonna peel all this skin off. We wanna make sure we get rid of that skin. Same thing to the other side. All right, I don't have to worry too much about crying today because with this beautiful breeze out here, it takes all those fumes away. So no crying today. All right, so I got my onions peeled. Now what we're gonna do is just take these and just slice right through. All right, so we just cut these. And then from here, what we'll do is just, how big you want it is totally up to you. If you want big pieces, that's fine. If you want small pieces, that's fine. I'm gonna go with kind of small pieces. So once I get it cut up, I'm also gonna run my knife through it just to make sure they're cut up pretty small. All right, I'm gonna get the other one done. Now again, if you didn't want onions, if you wanted to put something else in there, you can definitely do it. This is a recipe that's kind of open to your interpretation. However, or whatever you wanted to put in here, you can definitely put in there, but I would definitely add stuff to it. The last thing I want you to do is just take it and not have like any good flavor in there. So we're just gonna take this, throw it in our ground beef. Get that in our ground beef. It's one of the things about cooking outside is dealing with some of the flies. All right, so now what goes in next? So we're gonna take our ginger and throw our ginger. The wind is taking that. So we got some ginger in there. We're gonna throw some cumin in there. All right, I'm gonna get some paprika. I'm gonna put some paprika in there. I'll add a little bit more. I like paprika. Get a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. Put a little bit more in there. We like it a little spicy. I'm going to add my herb salt. And that's pretty much it for this. Now I want to do is just get in there with my hands and mix this up. Now I'm using a glove today, only because since we're outside, I really don't have access to running water. So using a glove kind of helps me out there. So we're just gonna mix this in. Now, what kind of meat do you want to use? Now, when you're talking about ground beef, if you go to the store and you buy ground beef, one of the things you have to be careful with is if you get something that just says ground beef. If it's just ground beef, what will happen is the manufacturer, the maker, or the harvester of that beef, whatever is left over is going to be ground up for your ground beef. What I always suggest is if you're going to go to get ground beef, you want to make sure you get like a ground chuck or a ground sirloin or something like that. All right, it has to be ground and then a name to it. If it's just ground beef, it's kind of like whatever's left over is what you're going to get. All right, so we'll get a quality meat, you know, if we get ground plus a name. We got that mixed up, and that's it. The meat is done. So to prep these up, all we're going to do is just take it and cut the top off. And then all I'm going to do right here is just kind of slice around. I don't want to cut all the way through. I just want to remove the stem part. Once we cut all the way through, then you can take your hand and just give it a twist, and you'll pull that whole core piece right out. Okay, so I got that one ready. We'll do a red and an orange today because I like the colors. So again, same thing, we take that. I can take my knife and I just kind of cut around. I'm just cutting the rib part out. Then you can take your two fingers, stick them in there, give it a twist, and then pull it right up and right out. And then we have two perfect cavities for our peppers. Now, we just get rid of this, that's discard. Now we have these, what are we gonna do with these? We're definitely not gonna throw them out. What we'll do with these is we're just gonna take this and just slice this up. And again, if I pay for it, I wanna make sure I keep it. So we're just gonna chop this up. So I'm gonna mix this and just mince this up. And I'm gonna throw this in with the meat too. All right, I wanna make sure that we put nothing to waste. Nothing goes to waste here. We use everything. All right, so I'm gonna mince this up. You wanna make sure. Now, again, if you wanted to add different types of peppers, you could add serrano peppers, chilies, any kind of pepper that you want. That's totally up to you for the mix. All right, for stuffing it, you wanna make sure you use a bell pepper. All right, so I'm just gonna add that to that now. Let me just add that. Now I'm also gonna add some of these herbs. There's some herbs here. I wanna add that too. Why? Because it's green, it looks beautiful in there, and I know the flavor is gonna be incredible. So we'll just mince this in. So the good thing about this, or this entire dish, is kind of whatever you have in your fridge is gonna be good to add to it. All right, so this is kind of like the leftover dinner. You know, whatever's left over, that's what we're gonna add to this. So I have my my herbs, throw that in there. Now again, what herb do you want to put in there? Totally up to you. You want to put tarragon, oregano, whatever fresh herb you have, you can definitely add that in. And I just want to mix this in. Oh, I wish you could smell this because it smells great. And you can see visually, it looks incredible. Or you can see that's going to have a lot of flavor in here. Just take my pepper and I'm just going to stuff these in here. Or you want about 4 to 5 ounces in each one. So we say, okay, that's perfect, number one. And we'll just stuff this one in here too. Now you'll see some people add cheese to this. You can definitely add cheese to this if you wanted to. We're not going to add cheese to this though.
one to keep it a little bit on the healthier side. I'm just going to add a little bit more to this one. So now these are perfect. I'm going to take my mix, put it underneath here. Now we have our peppers ready to go. All right, now we're going to cook these off, and it's going to be a little bit different how we cook these. Now for this one, I'm just going to make a little incision on this bottom. I don't want to cut all the way through, but I just want to make sure it can stand up on its own. So you have to do like a little Jenga game here to kind of get this done. All right, there we go. So now to cook these, we're going to go to our grill now and check our grill out. Now while that's going, that has about 10 to 15 minutes to cook there. So we'll set the timer on there and just let it go for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now we said we had some Greek yogurt. What we're going to do with this is we're going to kind of use it as like a sauce. All right, that's going to have a ton of flavor on there. But since we're using a lean beef, now we can do this with chicken. And this would work great with chicken also if I didn't want to use beef. Because chicken is so lean and there's not a lot of fat in there at all, we want to introduce some kind of sauce in there where it'll have a little bit more flavor and just give it a little bit more kind of like creaminess or texture. We're just going to add some lime to this. I don't want to have it just by itself because not that it tastes bad, it's just we want to add more flavor to it. So all I'm going to do is roll my lime. Now again, if you didn't want to use lime, if you wanted to use lemon, you can use lemon. It's totally up to you. Now we're also going to use a microplane. All right, I'm going to take my microplane and take my lime, and I'm just going to kind of work through it. Now there's a golden rule when we're zesting anything. All right, the thing we want to do is we'll work it in like strips of 3. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, and then we move to a different area. 1, 2, 3. And in a different area. And the reason we do that is, you see how it's still green? We want to make sure it stays green. We don't want to go any more than this, because if we go more than this, what'll happen is it'll start to turn white. When it turns white, we start to get that pith, and that becomes bitter. So we go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, just like that, all the way through. 3, 1, 2, 3, and we keep on going. So we get that in there. Now it looks like we got that little stem piece in there too, so we want to get rid of that. Now we're going to take the juice out of this and add that to it as well. So we just make a slice and we start just squeezing that juice in there. That's one. This can go with anything. Don't think that just because we're making it today that it has to go only with our grilled pepper. We can put it with anything. And we're just going to stir this in. And just to make sure it all incorporates well. So we'll get this mixed in. Once it's all incorporated well, which we're getting it there now. Now we have our lime sauce ready to go. Now if we wanted to, we could put cucumbers in there. We could put some vegetables in there too. You can use this as a dip if you wanted to. Like if you had raw vegetables that you wanted to just dip in there, that's fine. If you had cooked steamed vegetables and you wanted to put that in there too and use it as a dip, you can definitely use it as a dip. All right, if we wanted to put a little bit of Tabasco sauce in there and make it a little spicy, we can definitely do that too. So this is kind of like a blank canvas. You can do a million different things with it. It's all kind of whatever you want to do as like an overall kind of flavor profile. So now this is done, I'm going to put this aside. I'm I'm gonna clean up my area. Got some lime everywhere. Now I want to start working on my rice part. Now while I clean up a little bit, I want you to take a look at this.
Hey, Chef Rich here, and I hope you're enjoying the show. I'm outside right now getting the grill ready so I can cook for the family. But I wanted to take a couple minutes out and talk to you about bell peppers. Now, bell peppers come in a variety of different colors, like red, yellow, orange, and green. And they're mostly composed of water, about 92%. Now, the green ones are the unripe peppers. They're slightly bitter and have less sweet flavor than their fully ripe cousins. Now, bell peppers are rich in many vitamins and antioxidants, like vitamin C, B6, K1, EA, potassium, and folate. And they're rich in antioxidants. Now, I know I'm gonna mess up some of these names, but let's go for it anyway. Like carotenoids, capsaicin, violexithin, lutein, which is found in the green ones, and can improve eye health. Quercetin, which is a polyphenol, which may help prevent certain chronic conditions like heart disease and cancer. All in all, bell peppers are an excellent addition to any healthy diet. So follow us to learn how easily you can introduce them into your healthy lifestyle. Now, before you go back to the kitchen, let me leave you with this. You can get healthy if you focus on today, right now. Forget about what's happened in the past and don't worry about tomorrow. Let's take this one plate at a time and walk this journey together. Now let's get back to the kitchen.
I bet you didn't know that about peppers. All right, so while we're on a pepper situation, why don't we take a look at these guys and see how they look? It smells incredible. Oh, they look beautiful. Cooking nicely. We'll just let them rest there. All right, so now while that's going, we're gonna work on our rice, our leftover rice. First thing I wanna do is get my garlic going. So we're gonna get about 3 pieces of garlic in there. All right, so now again, one of the easiest ways, you put your knife on top and just give it a little bash. Same thing, a little bash, same thing, a little bash. And now we're just gonna run our knives through. Super easy, 1, 2, 3. We're just gonna chop this up. And whenever you are mincing, one of the things you want to be careful with is your hand placement. Right? So whenever you're starting to do any kind of mincing, you want to make sure you have your one hand on the handle. The other 4 fingers are going to be on the spine of the knife. And the reason we want it on the spine of the knife and more towards the middle is because what will happen is a lot of people will start to cut, and their fingers get lower and lower and lower. And before you know it, the pinky's on the board and they start rocking back and forth, and you can see what can happen there. All right, so we want to be very careful with that. So we put all 4 fingers on top and we just, nice and easy, take our time, just start cutting up. And this can be parsley, this can be garlic, it can be anything that we're mincing. All right, so we're just gonna mince that up a little bit more. And then that's good. That's all we need for that. Now, normally we would add fat to our pan. We're not going to do it this time. But I'm going to show you a different way that we don't have to use fat all the time. All right, it's not necessary. I want to make sure my pan is nice and hot. First thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of chicken stock to the pan. And you can see my pan is nice and hot. So I'm going to add that. Now I'm going to add my garlic to it. And the reason I'm doing it this way, try to get all that garlic in there. That's a lot of flavor. No garlic is left out. All right, now the reason I'm doing it like this, I'm going to give this a stir first, is because I'm kind of rehydrating our leftover rice. So if I wish to use fat like an olive oil on this, what would happen is it would taste okay, but it would be a lot of fat that's in there. So the fat would be in the olive oil, and the flavor would be in that olive oil. Doing it this way, what happens is the liquid, my chicken stock, is going to start to absorb as that garlic heats up that garlic flavor. Now when I add my rice to it, what will happen is the rice will start to absorb the liquid, which has that amazing chicken flavor, but it also has that amazing garlic flavor. So now it starts to take on that flavor, which is what we really want. All right, I'm just gonna mix this up. I mean, I wish you could smell this because it smells incredible. So I'm gonna turn this up a little bit more, just get a little bit more hot. And then I'm gonna add my leftover rice. This is gonna be like one of the easiest dishes you've ever made. So we add our rice to it. Now I'm just gonna spread this out. Now you'll see it'll absorb, as your rice heats up, it'll absorb that liquid. Now if you wanted to add more liquid to it, go for it. You're not gonna do anything bad to it. So we're just gonna add a little bit more liquid to it, a little more chicken stock. And I'm gonna turn this up. Doing it this way, what you'll notice is it'll be just like you made fresh rice. Because what'll happen is the rice starts to absorb, it gets fluffy and light all over again, and it has amazing flavor. So we'll just give it a stir, because I want to make sure I incorporate all that garlic too. Crush up any pieces that are in there. And you're like, oh, it looks really wet. That's okay for right now. What'll happen is it'll go into the rice. That rice gets fluffier and fluffier and fluffier. Lighter and lighter and lighter, but has tons of flavor. So while that's going and heating up, I'm gonna work on my last ingredient that I'm gonna add, which is my cilantro. Now, again, this could be parsley, it can be cilantro, it can be whatever you want. I mean, it's totally, totally up to you. So we're just gonna give this a quick chop. It can be a mix of both. So we say, okay, this is done. Now we're gonna go over to our rice, and you'll start to see it now. What'll happen is it'll start to stick to the pan a little bit as it evaporates. Again, that's a good thing. We just wanna make sure that we're careful with it. And we just keep an eye on it. And it smells incredible. Add a little bit of seasoning to my rice. And what I'm gonna do is just turn the heat down a little bit. All right, I want it to kind of evaporate and cook at the same time. If I keep it too high, what could happen is it can evaporate too fast, and then my rice will start to stick to the pan and then it could start to burn. So we want to prevent that from happening. So we have that going. I'm going to give it one last stir. And you can see all that water is evaporating, or all that chicken stock that we had in there is evaporating. And my rice, which was kind of dry and left over, now it's starting to look vibrant and beautiful and fresh. All right, at this point, I'm gonna turn it down and I'm gonna add my fresh herbs to it. Again, make sure we get everything in there. And then we're just gonna give this a stir. And once you add our fresh herbs to it, we're pretty much saying that our rice is done. All right, and we don't wanna keep on cooking it. So what I'm gonna do is turn my heat off. Now the reason that we add our fresh herbs in and then we shut it off is that, remember, these fresh herbs are very, very delicate. If I put them in and I let them cook and cook and cook, what will happen is they'll lose a lot of their flavor, they'll lose their aroma, and then they start to lose the nutritional value that's in there as well. All right, there's a lot of vitamin C in here and we want to keep it in there. So we just want to put them in and just let the heat of that rice just warm them up slowly, but not with any more heat added to it. Now, if it was a dry herb, now that would be totally different. Then we want to cook this out a little bit because we need to reconstitute that dry herb. So there's definitely a big difference between using fresh herbs and using dry herbs. And as we go on, and we'll talk about more and more about the difference and when to use what and how to use them, because it is crucial to get the most flavor out of it, to use it properly. So now our rice done. Let's give this a taste real quick. Let's see how that is. That tastes incredible. It's like garlicky, fresh rice. Then you get that lingering, kind of like fresh parsley, like fresh herb flavor throughout the whole thing. So that's perfect. Now let's take a look at these peppers. And they look incredible. So we'll start to take these out. Now they're going to be very delicate now and very juicy, so you want to be careful with them. So we'll take these out. These look amazing and they smell incredible. Now, the last thing to do is just to plate these up. First thing that goes in, our rice. So we'll get a little spoonful in there. We'll make a little nest in there. Now I'm going to get my hot, and we'll put that there right in the middle. Our grilled pepper, stuffed pepper, and then we're going to take our sauce and just do a little bit of sauce just right on top. And that's it. Our whole dish is done. Now come on. It doesn't get any easier than this. All right, if we work together, getting healthy and feeling better doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. I promise, we'll always make it fun, easy, and delicious. And we'll do it one plate at a time. I'll see you next time.
Hey, Chef Rich here, and I want to officially introduce you to my one plate herb salt. Now, this is the perfect all-in-one seasoning that I carefully handcrafted to enhance any dish. Now, our proprietary herb blend not only provides delicious flavor, but also offers antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties for the health-conscious eater. Now, it's also packed with vitamins and minerals, and that green hue comes from the natural chlorophyll found in fresh herbs. To get some for yourself, visit our website.
Oh, you're still here? You caught me. You want to know more easy to follow tips and techniques that'll transform your cooking game? So join me for live cooking classes and keep learning with our new One Plate Cooking Club. Visit our website and sign up today. I'm gonna finish eating.